Andy has always been a strategic thinker, certainly forward-looking, has always taken the time to learn about our business.
The commitment, it wasn't just a business deal. He was looking for the long-term relationship, which we have had with him.
It was Andy's advice that this is not the right transaction on the table, and it's not just about closing the deal today. If this isn't the right deal for TopCon, let's move on and reevaluate.
Andy did a very nice job of listening to what those objectives were, understanding the dynamics related to it with respect to the transaction, and really did a nice job to balance what we needed with what he knew he could accomplish in the marketplace.
I relied heavily on Andrew and Matthew's expertise to help me make decisions about what that space had to look like. And as a result of that, when we sat down with the architect and briefed him, it was a full briefing. And when the architect came back, he was 99% spot on to our requirements. I think the only significant thing that I had to change was to add 2 closets in the place so people had a place to put their coats. That saved an enormous amount of time, and not needing to make changes once we got into the construction process because we'd done the space planning properly saved a ton of time. So the decision making was very precise all the way along.
Generally, as commission-based people, it's get the deal done and move on to the next deal. That is absolutely not how Andy manages the TopCon account. Even when we don't have a pending transaction, he stays in touch with what's going on with our business and cares to know what's happening within our business, and that allows him to be that much more valuable to us when it does come time to do some real estate transaction.
When you work with other brokers, typically you get less experienced junior resources to work on a transaction once the more senior people kind of lay out the strategy and how things are going to go. And from start to finish, Andy was my relationship manager, and from start to finish, Matt was our financial strategist. And that's really how they view their business. They have very unique titles and they're purposeful. Those titles are designed to really demonstrate what their roles are.
Then it's some very strategic thinking and trying to figure out, what's the appropriate amount of space you need and what type of space. One thing I'll say about Andy, it's never about what kind of space do we need today. He is always asking, what do we need into the future? He never lets our management at TopCon forget, there is a future business you need to consider. And that's very important when you're doing a real estate transaction.
He's constantly thinking, constantly evaluating what our options are, and constantly reaching out to try to get us the best value.
And in one particular case, an issue came up, and it was significant enough that Andy felt like he personally had to come to my office and talk to me face to face about it. It was something that I really appreciated because it was something that could have had an impact on the transaction. And he valued the fact that an email or a phone call wasn't good enough, and I'm going to go talk to Lou directly, and we're going to talk this through and make sure we can still keep this transaction on track.